All right, everybody. Welcome back. Episode 2 of Trimming the Fat with your good pals, Adam, Corey, and Luke. And tonight we're going to kind of tackle an array of topics. But to kick things off, I guess we're going to start off with how to stay on track when life takes you off track. And that's something that we are discussing prior to the recording, just because it's a fact of life. We all have families, we all have jobs and responsibilities that get in the way. And I know that when I'm truly on track, I live a very regimented life, and that makes things very easy for me as far as staying on diet, staying focused, staying healthy. But it's those days off, like Saturday is my off day, and I try to sleep in, and I'm totally not on any schedule whatsoever, and I'm really just grumpy until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just snap out of it and get to it. But it's getting back into that rhythm, right? On Sunday morning, getting up at 4 and going on a long bike ride and getting back into meal prepping and kind of planning out the week is how I get my mindset back in. I don't let myself get off track for more than a day or two at a time. How's it work for you guys?
Absolutely. I think for me, kind of similar. Actually, Luke, why don't you talk this time some more? Get you in the middle of this.
So every other time that I tried losing weight, I was strict on everything I did. I couldn't miss a day. I couldn't eat one little, stick of gum that wasn't on my plan. But and the thing with that, my biggest issue was if I did go off my routine, I gave up. I was like, man, I ruined everything with that one meal or that one bite that I took I shouldn't have. So now I just I do my plan, but I'm smart about it. Like there are going to be days where you screw up. There are going to be days that you don't want to go to the gym or you don't want to work out, and those are the days I push myself a little bit harder. But you don't have to. You don't have to, be a robot and do these things every day the same way. You know what I mean? You can enjoy it. It's something that you're going to hopefully do for the rest of your life. Learn to enjoy it.
See, I'm the rigid type. I'm the type that everything has to be a certain way. And I would say one of my bigger challenges is trying to get the whole family on board in a way that doesn't take it off as well. Because I don't do well with, all the junk food coming through. And it's like, what the hell is that for? I mean, really, why are we having Pop-Tarts when I just spent, $200 in this other food to make sure that we're all eating well? And it just throws me way off track. I have a list of certain kinds of foods that I need to eat in a day. And that I find helps me, that rigidness of I need so many beans, I need so many greens, I need so many, to that level of detail. I find it a lot easier because I know the food that I'm looking for are my boxes that aren't checked. I know the functions that I'm looking for are the ones that it's not checked. So it's not like, what do I do now? It's like, oh, I have this whole list, but my list is extensive enough that it's almost impossible to get it all in a day. So I'm never looking for the Twinkie or the ho-ho. I'm looking for, damn it, I'm still short on 2 of my greens. Do I need to make a smoothie to throw some kale in there? Or, what do I need to do to make sure I get my checklist?
Yeah, but those Twinkies are so damn good.
Yes,
I
they are.
am. That's the thing for me. I am 100% a junk food junkie. I mean, it comes to snacks. If it's sweet, I want it no matter what. And I think that, we all have kids, right? And they're all in different ages. And that's one of the hardest parts about it. Luckily, my son's 4, my daughter is 9 months old, and it's easier because I can buy him healthier snacks, but still, there's some things that he is going to want to have, like chocolate, right? Or this, that, and the other, that you can't sub out different things because the kids are going to know about it. But but to your point, Luke, about, I used to be like super hardcore and not be the same way. So I did my big bike ride yesterday, right? And I got up and I went and started checking through all my stuff, and I opened up my headphones, and only one of them charged. My left one was completely dead. And the old version of me would be like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just not going. I'm done.
Yep.
I quit. But I'm like, well, it's 4:00 in the damn morning. I have time to charge it. So I charge it and it was fine. It lasted the whole bike ride. But I used to be the same way, man. Like, if one thing was off, I just throw up my hands and walk away and be like, you know what? I'm just meant to be fat. I'm out of here. That's how I was, man. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm fine. I'm gonna go get like 6 Cokes and a pack of donuts and be happy. But now that's why I have that Saturday. Like, since I'm still kind of in maintenance mode right now for myself, even though I'm weighing myself a day and trying to stay on track, I have Saturdays as that planned day off where I can just do whatever. I still find myself eating a lot healthier than I used to, but if I want to get the burger and fries, I'm gonna get it that day. Or just snack like crap or have the sweets. But I think you're right. Now again, it's all different for everyone, right? Everyone has a different plan, and everyone's brain works differently and how they are in this journey. So I think that it's good to know where your willpower is and how far you can take that. Because like Corey, like you said last time, where I can gain 5-10 pounds in a weekend, have a good time. For some people, you blink and that's not like 50 or 60 pounds they gained on because they just let themselves go just a little bit.
Yep. Yep.
One day
Exactly.
turns into 2.
Right. Turns into 6 months.
Yep. And I think that some people, they need that day or that time they still need to have that connection to, whatever it is, whether it's the Twinkie or whether it's the steak or whether it's the, going out for drinks with buddies once in a while. Some people have to have that. I think some also should realize that that's the edge of your cliff. I mean, I know that sounds extreme for some, but realistically, I know me going out drinking with the buddies, I'm going to be drinking the next night as well, and the night after, and the night after that. I just know that's the edge of my cliff. That's where I got to be like, no, it's not going to be one beer because I love beer. It's not going to be one whiskey because I have a whole selection of damn good whiskeys that once I crack that open, I'm going to try a few of them.
Right.
So I shouldn't be drinking this whiskey barrel aged stout in front of you.
No, that's fine.
With
I'm
me,
still celebrating.
I on that with the one day turns into 2 and 2 turns into 4. I'm a binge eater, so I eat a lot at one time. And for me, when I tried to lose the weight before, I was restricting, and I would, all right, so no fast food, no Starburst from the kids or any of that. And when I would give in, it was chaos. It was, I'm eating the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I mean? I would always go over when I did cut all that out completely. But now if I'm craving something, I can go get it. And I always say this in quotes and people get pissy about it, but I eat like a normal person, like I'm not eating like a fat person.
No, it's so true, man. No, that's so true. Cause I mean, like there's times I'll go to a restaurant that I haven't been to since I lost my weight. Right. So it's been like 2 or 3 years. And I go to the restaurant and I'll order exactly what I used to order. And it'll come in and I'll be like, holy shit, I used to eat all of this. And then I'll proceed to eat the whole thing all over again, but then I'll feel like crap for a couple of days. It's just like, but eating like a normal person, you actually realize what a typical portion size is like, right?
Yep.
And it's not like this huge thing that's covered in cheese and then dipped in ranch, which is my go-to. One thing I wanted to ask you, Luke, on your Valentine's podcast, you talked about how you would bring home cheesecake and then you eat cheesecake on the way.
Yeah.
Like how big a cheesecake was it? Was it a full-size cheesecake?
No, it wasn't a full size, but it was a big, it was some little old lady makes it for this local pizza joint.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like that size, a slice of a cheesecake.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was,
well, you're also a big guy too. So then that's like what, 6 inches around or 8 inches around, do you think?
Yes. And I mean, if I had to guess, I've never counted it, but it's probably about 700 calories, 800 calories in the serving. And yeah, like I said, I would, sometimes one of them would make it home and I'd tell my wife, well, this is, I got you something. I don't want one. But most of the time they wouldn't make it home. I'd find a trash can to throw it out on the way home and never speak of it again.
Yep.
Yep.
I've definitely done my fair share of those. I mean, just eating things like I'll just get an extra one of these, an extra one of those, and like we have we've donuts. Everyone has donuts place, but down here we have kolaches, which is basically like ham or sausage and cheese or jalapeno inside like basically a bun. And I would go get donuts and kolaches for everyone, and then I'd get a couple more of like kolaches for myself, which I'd eat on the way home, and then I'd eat donuts and kolaches once I got home as well. So yeah, it's little things like that really just add on. Or I was talking last night to a buddy of mine who's also on this journey, and I was like, man, once I cleaned up my act, I started thinking about how much I used to drink, and how, I mean, even now it'd be a beer or two, sometimes every night, sometimes every few nights, whatever it is. But back in the day, I was drinking a lot of like Miller Lite, and I'd go out and I would drink, 10 beers a night. That's like 1,200 calories easy every night. And then over the course of a week, you're having like 10 to 12 days worth of calories in 7 days. It's like, well, no wonder I could never lose weight, no matter how much I worked out or how well I ate. If I'm still, adding on like 10,000 calories in just beer. I mean, was it delicious? Yeah, but it's not worth it.
Right. And that's, I think, sneaking those extras in, I don't know how many stories I could say as well, order tacos. Well, I'm going to order an extra one for the road. I mean, I can eat that on the way home. I mean,
gotta have a
it's
road
taco toll, man. Yeah. Taco
that's
toll.
right. Yeah. And I think some of those are, there's definitely stumbling blocks. And I think when we kind of veer back a little bit to what happens when we're thrown off task, is I think you have to identify what those stumbling blocks are and how serious they are to you. Doing that once in a while, if we rephrase that taco to I'm eating an apple before my meal, all of a sudden that's healthy because I'm getting pre-calories before my meal. I'm going to eat less at that meal. So, I mean, we can justify it.
Yeah, that's actually a damn good point, though, too. And I think that's one thing that, for me, why this time was different was that I thought back to my undergrad, right? So I got my degree in psychology, and when you start learning about the different schools of therapy, and I mean, you guys have been through some meetings too with the different. I know, look, you mentioned the Binge Eaters or Overeaters Anonymous and stuff like that. Yeah, part of the psychology that, a part of counseling is there's a lot of homework for you to do, and there's a lot of identifying triggers, right? So like keeping a journal, it's like, okay, this happened, and then now I want to eat this, and then for me, it was like finding that introspective like discovery of like, why am I doing this? It's like, I feel bad right now, so I'm going to have this candy bar because I know it's going to make me feel better now, or whatever it may be. But it was, for me, it was kind of like identifying those triggers. And to your point, Corey, then after I identified my bad habits, okay, how can I swap this out with something good? And that's why I started being the guy that carries around protein bars, or I always had protein bars in my drawer in my office, because I had now found some that I felt tasted good enough that could satiate that need for a candy bar. But then I knew I could have that and be 250 calories, like I think like 30 grams of protein and very low sugar. So I started kind of finding those things. Once I had the wherewithal to identify it, I could establish a habit that could still fulfill those needs, but be on track for me to lose weight and to fit into the calories and in my plan in general.
Yep. And I think that's a definitely a good trick. Whenever I start and whenever I talk to anybody, my thing is, if you can identify the 4 places you stay the most at in your house, or the 3 places where you stay the most time at in your house, and you put a fruit basket there, or you put whatever you're willing to eat that is actually healthy right there, and you leave it there. I don't care if it's in the middle of your dining room table or at your desk or at your, recliner, that food is always there, just because I'm inherently fat and lazy. And most people who are overweight have that little bit of lazy gene in there. And if the, apple is there versus going to the fridge and scouring for something there, I might as well just eat the apple. It's right here.
Yeah. I always said I wasn't lazy. I was just a master of efficiency.
Right, right.
I get really, really creative at being very, very efficient and doing whatever I needed to do and having the desired outcome, whether it be work or whatever, so I could not do other stuff. So, but you're right. And it's funny too, because I hear people talk about, well, I should only have like 1 or 2 servings of fruit a day because of the sugars, It's like, yeah, I'd much rather you eat 6 bananas today than have 4 or 5 candy bars
Yeah.
or that piece
Right.
of cake or a whole cheesecake, or the chocolate shake, whatever it may be. Um, I think it's just better because you can find those things like that will, like I said before, it'll tell your brain you had that, you can like fulfill that need, fulfill that craving, and then be done with it. Another thing that I started doing was that I take like a snack pack, like a chocolate pudding snack pack cup,
Mhm.
and mix that with a Cool Whip, and then kind of mix those together so that because I think I told you guys before, I'm like I eat with my eyes. I'm like a volume eater. I want to eat like a big, huge thing of it. So I can put something like Cool Whip that has relatively low calories with a pudding cup, which again is a finite number of calories because it's 1 serving, and then mix it all together and it looks way bigger. And I still get the sweets and I still get the chocolate,
Yeah.
but it's not like eating a whole bowl of ice cream, but you can kind of trick yourself into thinking it is.
Yeah,
Right,
you gotta
right,
find
absolutely.
that replacement, like you were saying with the protein bars. Um, a lot of people think, well, I don't want to eat healthy because it tastes bad or it's disgusting. But there are some awesome snacks out there that you can get that taste amazing. That again, you can trick your mind into like potato chips, get those rice cakes, or anything really like you're talking about ice cream. I read a thing on the internet where you freeze a banana and then mash it up, and it tastes
Yep.
like ice cream. You put it in the freezer.
Well, there's
Run
also
it
the yeah. Hey, go ahead.
running it through a juicer. We had the health food restaurant, and that's one of the things that we did was sorbets, and it's based with frozen bananas and blueberries or raspberries or whatever other fruit you wanted to add to it. And as long as your bananas are really ripe when they go in and they freeze, you come out with something that most people to start with can't believe that it's actually just fruit.
Yeah.
It's, it tricks the mind enough that it's frozen, it's good. What else is in this? It's a banana and some blueberries.
Yep.
That's it. That's all that's there. It's one of those things that we have a familiarity with certain textures or familiarity with that mindset of I need this thing, whether it's a volume setup or whether it's a dessert thing. You do that, and like you said, you throw some whipped cream on top of that. Again, you're next to no calories. You can make a chocolate syrup out of a dark chocolate and some oat milk and some yacon syrup, and all of a sudden you have all this built up and layered up, and it's like, wow, that's amazingly delicious. How many calories are in there? And the banana has maybe 100,
Yep.
but it has all of its fiber, so the sugar's not going to really matter. The blueberries are maybe 20, and the yacon syrups maybe another 15, 20 calories. Yeah, you're having a whole 150 calories, and it's like almost a 3/4 of a pound of food.
Yep.
Gee, how horrible is that?
Right.
Oh, quiet time. Can't do that. Dead silence. Oh no.
Well, I had three different thoughts fighting with me in my head about that one.
Let them out.
Oh, okay.
No, I was going to say with the ice cream, there's also a brand called Halo Top. It's out there.
Yep.
That's low sugar and has added protein in it. It's decent, but it's not as good. But you're right about the textures and everything else, man. It's hard to make that break. I think for me, when I first started, when I went to my doctor and I committed to myself to this journey for the first 3 months, I said this at the last podcast, I went like super hardcore, super clean, and no booze, no nothing. I mean, just super, super clean all the time. And I think doing that kind of let me be able to reset as far as like taste and feelings for taste. And now I think that really made it easier for me to find those healthier alternatives in a way. But even when I do go and get like a Coke Classic, right, or the red can Coke, and I have that, it's like once it hits the lips, right, it feels really good. But then if I drink half of it, I start getting sick because it's like so much sugar and so much not good, which is,
Right.
it's really surprising to me. Cause I mean, as a kid, like when I had an upset stomach, mom would stir the bubbles out and here you go. Like old school, like Midwestern remedies. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just always had it. And I've said this before. I used to be able to sit down at dinner and I'd suck down 5, 6 Cokes at a restaurant. No problem. Not a big deal at all. But now I can't. I think that I drink so much water now, even if I have days that I'm off of my water intake, if I go take a shower, my skin feels different. It's really weird. I mean, it's a good weird though, because I know that I need to drink more water now. And then when I drink more water, I make better decisions because my body's, where it is. So on that note, I'm gonna put my beer down.
Yeah, and you can expand on that field of more water and more things to an infinite degree. I think one thing that I'd like to kind of hit on is having your tools, because identifying your weaknesses, I think, is a tool. Knowing how to cook is probably one of the biggest assets to weight loss that there is, period.
Yep.
My wife knows how to cook. I know how to cook. And it gets to a point to where I work around, some guys, that are, we all know them. They aren't going to eat anything vegan if you label it vegan. They aren't going to touch anything healthy if you label it healthy. But now they're getting to the point to where they want to try whatever I'm eating every day I bring it, because it doesn't look right. It doesn't look normal. But then when they taste it, they've learned not to ask what's in it, they just taste it. And they're like, how is that? What is that? How, it's this look of confusion of how that can taste good, because they know that with me, I'm very definite, very fine ridge. So if I say it's healthy, it's healthy. It's, there's no wavering of anything there. And I make the comment at times that, I can make a salad taste as good as a steak. And a lot of people, that'll trigger like, no, you can't. Yeah, have some salad. Holy crap. What'd you do to this? This isn't just, lettuce. No, I don't use lettuce. I layer what greens we're using. I have moons. I have, cabbage. I have these different layers of flavor in there to make it infinitely bigger. And I think when we talk about falling off a task, I think if you set it up tailored to you, your entire structure, when you go off a task, after you build that, what was the big word I couldn't say earlier, Adam, or write or type?
Ritualistic
Habits. Once you build those, when you go off a track, then all of a sudden you're out of your comfort zone. It's not the right same comfort foods that you've built, but I think it's getting to that point of, having that consistency, or that, I want these things because I crave how they make me feel. I want these things because I enjoy them now, versus, just the same as the beer. If I have a beer every night and I have a good emotional experience with that, I build that habit of having that beer every night. So that's what I reach for. But it takes time to kind of turn that direction. I think during that first however long it is for a person to build that, it's so easy to fall off a task because we're just falling back into what we know. And we always go back to that. It's easy. We have to redevelop what we are.
Yeah. Another good thing for me when I'd go off track, I could see it in my face. My face would get red, it'd get inflamed. I would feel bad. My trips to the bathroom would be longer and more difficult. But I think that's the kind of this whole thing is about being honest and true to yourself, right? You know what you should be doing. You know when you go off track, you know what you're putting in your mouth, but you have to figure out ways that work for you. I think that's the underlying theme. That's going to get you back on track without beating yourself up. And just like that, in that thread the other day we were on about, but that one wannabe trainer guy talking about, you should throw your scale away. Never weigh yourself. It's like, bro, okay. Yeah. I saw that one picture of you, the pot belly, after you had a burrito in college and now you're completely ripped. Yeah. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't care what kinesiology degree you got and what online certificate bullshit thing you got. That's not how it works in the real world, man. Like, I was a binge eater. It's like, no, man, you went to CC's one time. Shut up. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. Yeah. I mean, I hate that shit, man. Like, sorry, I'm riled up. I've had a beer and a half. But for me, that's the ultimate check and balance is I get up the next morning, whether I want to or not, I step on that scale and I see where I'm at. And that's, it either lets me like, okay, I can go and coast a little bit today, or I need to pick up the pace and get back to it. And go from there. That, and just, for me, I'd say that's one of my biggest things, how to get myself back on track, because you can let yourself go for a day or two, or if you're on vacation, that's fine. But know when you come back, it's time to go back to work. It's time to get back on it, and not beat yourself up about it. Like, I think that the three of us, and I think most people in general, is like when you have this goal and you get off a little bit, you just want to throw up your hands and walk away and be done with it. But you have to realize this is a lifelong journey.
Yep.
It's not I have to lose 50 pounds in 6 months, unless you're trying to win a shitload of money. That's a different story. We can help you with that, but
Right.
you can crack the whip. But I think that people need to realize that you have to be the tortoise in this. You're not the hare, and you're gonna fail, but it's not, I mean, the whole thing about fail is the first attempt in learning, right? You're going to fail, but how do you recover, and how do you get back to it? And are you reinvigorated now? And what notes did you take, and how did it make you feel? And what do you not want to do again? And, it's not one of those things where you have to eat salads every day, or chicken and rice every day, or whatever it may be. It's like, I think people just need to be more realistic about it. I mean, you guys are in your different support groups and different groups on Facebook. You see the comments on that, and people just want to be told what to do and how to do it, and just be like this, some lemming, right? Just wandering around being told what to do. And it's like, look, it's not that easy. I mean, the easy part is yeah, calories in, calories out, exercise every day, drink a gallon of water every day, cut out all the fast food, anything from the box, cook for yourself. But there's so much more to it than that. I mean, it's the mental aspect of it. And it's about how you kind of attack it and what your game plan is. And if,
You
And
truly,
I think
I'll shut up now.
you truly have to want it. And like you said, you got to be honest with yourself. There's been times where I've lied to myself, like, oh, well, I justify different things, and you're not going to succeed doing that. Like you mentioned the support groups, and I was going to bring that up because Corey, you brought up the tools, and I think my biggest tool is the support groups on Facebook. If you listen to my podcast, I talk about that in like every episode. If I'm struggling I'm going to overeat, or I'm going to binge eat, I make a post. If I'm having a rough day, hey, I want to talk to somebody because I'm stressing and I want to go to the kitchen. And those support groups, everybody in there, for the most part, is where I'm at or has been where I'm at, that can help me get to where I want to be. So I definitely recommend
right.
support groups.
Well, I think one thing we could do is in the description below, put together a list of some of some of those tools, and
Yeah.
what we feel are tools that help us get back to track, whether it be actually weighing yourself twice a day, which I just started doing that on this journey. I used to be the guy to tell you, don't look at a scale for at least a week to every 2 weeks. That was something that I've told a lot of people, that I believed myself. But doing it this time, weighing it, and I did a video on this here not too long ago, it showed me to where if I eat too few calories in a day, I will gain weight in 2 days. Just one of those things where, by me keeping track of it and following, I thought, granted, that day I didn't eat as much, and the next day I'd lose weight, but then that weight loss would stop and I would gain a little, or I'd stay there for 2 or 3 days, because my body just automatically freezes. Now, sure, if I would have kept that calorie restriction up long enough, I know it would have kept coming off faster, but it's not a comfort to go to bed starving. It's not a comfort to be hungry, for those extra hours. I do the intermittent fasting, so I've gotten used to some of it, but there's a point to where too few is not enough. Also with water, I can tell on the scale when I don't drink enough water, I don't lose as much weight as fast. Just little things like that, those little tools, I think would be hugely beneficial that if we just take some time, throw those down, whether you use them or they implement to how you're doing things, that's up to you. I mean, some people may look at that and be like, if I see my weight stay the same or gain, in between the morning and night, I'm done. Then don't do that. I mean,
you got to find what works for you.
No, you really do. And for me, like, I was just constantly doing experiments myself, right? I wanted to weigh myself first thing when I got up in the morning after I went to the bathroom, right after my morning workout. And then I would weigh myself before bed to kind of see, exactly where I was and how it went and what tweaks I was making day on day. If I could, if I could change this or tweak that, how would it affect that? Right. And I think we've all heard that you're going to gain 5-10 pounds a day just with, water or whatever, water retention or whatever it may be. And I wanted to see where that was. And I was really curious about how much weight you lose when you slept, because that's when your body's recuperating, regenerating, whatever, and you are sweating. And, it was great because, I mean, there's times where I literally would weigh myself right before bed, and then I weigh myself right when I got up before into the bathroom and then after the bathroom. Right. And I would, sometimes it would be like a 5-pound difference between the three.
Yeah.
And weighing the most before I went to bed. And then of course, less when I woke up, then even less went to the bathroom, then even less after I got back from my workout. But it just is seeing those kind of things and then saying, hey, look, I drank all this water today. I feel like I should be bloated, but I feel so much better and I'm actually losing weight. Well, that makes sense because it's the more water we have, the more efficient everything is. Like everything, every system we have in our body is way more efficient. And even though I'd say first few days, first few weeks, you drink a gallon of water a day, you feel bloated and you're peeing like every 12 seconds. But once your body gets regulated to it, it's fantastic.
Yep.
Definitely. I noticed that I'm a compulsive weigher. The scale is something I need to loosen up on because I do it throughout the day, all day, every day. But one thing I have noticed is even if I stay within my calories, because that's what I do is I'm on a calorie plan. If I don't go over, I'm good. Well, there's certain foods that I can eat that tomorrow when I weigh myself, I'm not gonna see as big of a difference, even if it's the same calories that I ate for 3 days in a row. And that's one thing I like about stepping on the scale is I can see what this food will do to me. If I okay, well, I'm going to stay away from that because it slows my weight loss down. Or, I even put on a little bit of weight from eating this, twice in a row.
That's why I don't like about it in some of those support groups. They're like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what you eat. Just it's calories in versus as long as you're burning more calories than you're eating, it doesn't matter. Well, true. I mean, but I wouldn't recommend someone eating only Snickers bars for their diet, right? And then trying to work that off. I don't care if you have 2,000 calories worth of Snickers bars versus eating, chicken and vegetables or some other protein, pork or steak or whatever it may be, and lots of veggies and fruit. Okay, let's have that experiment. You eat nothing but Snickers, and then I'll eat a really balanced protein-rich diet, and let's see who loses more weight first. Yeah. And then let's do our blood work before and after and see who's diabetic and who's not.
Yeah, you may lose weight, but you're not going to get healthy.
No, you're going to have a litany of other problems, man. So,
yeah. I think on food alone, so many people get confused, and there's so much out there that is bullshit. I mean, just plain flat out bullshit as far as diets go. And what's bad is, when our bodies are so efficient and so able to adapt that even giving somebody Snickers and that's their only thing, there are times when you can actually lose weight with that. So people get stuck on seeing one little focus of it, but they don't get to see the whole picture that weight's not going to stay off. That those things aren't going to still be there. Realistically, if your food is on point, and I don't want to open the subject up, then it doesn't matter whether that scale goes down, your health is becoming more optimized.
Yep. Yeah, definitely, man. And one thing real quick before we run out of time, because I know it's getting to that, but I know a lot of people can complain about, oh, I'm not efficient. My system's not efficient. I always say, eat some corn and tell me how efficient or inefficient you are. Because for some reason that corn will move through your body faster than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but, but, but to your point, Corey, I mean, if you're eating a balanced diet, yeah, I mean, you may not lose weight, but your overall health is a completely different subject too. I mean, I think that they should be synonymous, but they're totally different topics to discuss. I mean, that's at the end of it, that's what it is. I mean, I know I've said this before, but according to my BMI right now, even though my blood work's perfectly healthy and I'm technically medically healthy as an individual, my BMI still said I died like in 1997. So, I mean, it's it's one of those things where I think that for us as creatures of habit, we do want to focus on the scale and get into a certain weight and lose a certain amount of pounds because that's what we want to do. And it's probably what we need to do. Um, but I think that blood work is also really, really important to make sure that all your levels are normal and your A1C is down and you're not in the pre-diabetic, diabetic categories. Your testosterone's up, especially for us guys. I know that was one of my major issues, and now that it's up, man, it's a game changer. I mean, since I've lost the weight, and I mean, my just every like lens of my lifestyle is just better, right? I have more energy all the time. I want to go do all the things. I'm doing ridiculously stupid stuff like I did yesterday, that bike ride. I mean, it's yeah. I'll leave it at that because I know I've been monopolizing time.
So, Adam, one quick question, real quick.
Sure.
30 seconds. Answer. When you fall off a track, how do you get back on?
I just get back on. I don't beat myself up about it. I say today's a day. Tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. I'm going to get on the bike. I'm going to get back on track. It's just that I mean, I've stopped beating myself up about it. I know how to fix it. I know what to do. It's time just to shut up and put up and go.
Yep.
Luke, 30 seconds.
It's about the
What's
same.
your advice?
You know, you can't change the past. Just put your head down and push forward. Go in the same direction that you were heading in before. Don't look back.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You can't guilt trip yourself. I mean, we are our own biggest enemies, our own biggest critics, but we can also be our own biggest supporters. We need to have that mentality of, I am the boss. I am in control. I did something yesterday. I always try to find why I did. And if it's because I wanted to enjoy it, then damn it, claim it. I wanted to enjoy that. That's what I wanted to do. But I also want to enjoy the life in which I'm going to. So getting back on